Jen Beeston. Today I want to talk to you about 2 great reasons to buy a house. So this year with the new tax bill, there's been a lot of chatter about does buying a house still make sense? And I would say 100% it still makes sense, and it's for these 2 very important reasons. Number 1, stability. Okay? Now, when you own the home, you have the stability of controlling if the property sells, if you need to move, if you want to do any renovations to the property, if something's wrong with the property, how it's fixed, okay? Whereas you're a renter, you don't control much. If the landlord decides they want to sell the house, they can. If after your lease is up, they want you to move, you gotta move. If something breaks in the house, you have a right to fix it, but you're gonna want the landlord to fix it because that's part of their duties, but you don't get to control how it's fixed. Renovations, not gonna happen. So you're definitely set to a home in a certain period, okay? That's the first point of the stability, and we really saw this in Sonoma County after the fires. Because after the fires, we saw rental increases, we saw investment properties being sold. There was a lot of gain for the landlords, but for the renters, there was not a lot of gain. I mean, it's really bad still with where rental prices are. So having the stability that you get with buying a home, if you buy a home and you get a 30-year fixed mortgage, your principal and interest is the same for 30 years. Okay? It doesn't matter what the exterior conditions are because you have a 30-year fixed mortgage. Yes, your property taxes will change a little bit and go up over the years. Yes, same with insurance. But your actual principal and interest, which is the biggest bulk of that payment, will remain the same. That is stability, okay? Now, the second part that makes buying a house a great idea, it can go 2 different ways. Now, in a perfect world, we would all find a house that we loved early on, and we would get a 30-year fixed, and we would pay that loan off, and then when we retired, we would own the house free and clear. Doesn't that sound great? I mean, as a renter, you don't have that option. You're renting. So you could pay rent for 30 years, and on year 31, you're still gonna pay rent, even if it's the same house. So as a renter, you're always gonna be renting. Your cost is not gonna decrease, okay? So what happens is every single year, rents are going up. Every single year, the cost to buy a home is going up. Now, yes, I understand that we've had huge, bubbles before and housing prices have gone down. But if you look at the markets after the housing bubbles, they recover, okay? Now, why that matters is that if you're like, well, Jen, I'm not gonna live in this house for 30 years. Okay, that's cool. If you wanna live there for 5 or 10 years, you may get enough equity to get into another house with a much larger down payment, with more money going towards paying down your mortgage. I see a lot of retired people who literally are selling the houses they bought 20 years ago, and they're using that money to buy a smaller house with cash. So they're not even finishing the last 10 years of their mortgage. They're taking the equity from the home and they're able to purchase a house with cash. So when they're retiring, they're just paying principal and interest. And I think it's really important. I feel like as a country, we don't talk about retirement enough. It's kind of like people stop working and then it's like, we don't know, they're playing golf. Are they playing? Yeah, they're playing golf. She's knitting now. But it's a real thing. And I see a lot of struggling in retirement because people haven't thought this stuff through. It's pretty tough when someone's 65, they've been renting their whole life, and now they're trying to get into the housing market. Not to say it's impossible, we do it every single day, but what I'm saying is that can you imagine if they had bought 30 years ago? I mean, all you have to do is Google San Francisco prices 30 years ago, and you'd be like, wow. So 2 good reasons to buy a house. Number 1, stability, and number 2, gain in equity. Thanks so much for watching.